Hello class, today we're going to cover how to construct a confidence interval to compare two proportions. To do that, we're going to continue in section 9.1 number 3 and we're going to do part B. This has a lot of the same instructions as part A, so we're going to use our numbers from last time and I'm going to show you how to get the newly needed numbers as well. So for this one, we're going to test the claim by constructing an appropriate confidence interval, so we need the formula as usual. This formula is P1 hat minus P2 hat in parentheses minus Z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of P sub 1 hat Q sub 1 hat all over N sub 1 plus P sub 2 hat Q sub 2 hat all over N sub 2. Now, let's go ahead and finish this up. We know this is going to be less than P sub 1 minus P sub 2. Less than, basically the same thing with just a plus sign. So instead of P sub 1 hat minus P sub 2 hat, remember to close that parenthesis as well. Instead of that second minus sign in front of that Z, it's going to be a plus sign instead. Now, we know a lot of these values from last time. We know P sub 1 hat equals 144 over 481. Looks like I forgot my hat there. Gonna go back and put that in. We know P sub 2 hat is equal to 77 over 260. And we know N sub 1 is equal to 1443 over 780. These are all from part A. It's all from that last video we have on here. Now, since we know most of these things, we still need to find the missing links. We need Q sub 1 hat, which is 1 minus P sub 1 hat, which equals 1 minus 144 over 481, which is equal to 337 over 481. Q sub 2 hat is done the same way, just 1 minus P sub 2 hat, which equals 1 minus 77 over 260, which equals 183 over 260. So we have all our missing numbers, and that is a 0 in the end, by the way. Forgive my handwriting, still not too comfortable with this program. Let's plug those values in. So we said P sub 1 hat was 144 over 481 minus P sub 2 hat, which was 77 over 260. Make sure I close our parentheses this time. Minus Z sub 0.05, because 0.05 was alpha, over 2. Now, while I'm still here, let's go ahead and rewrite this. This is the same thing as Z sub 0.025. I just went and did a little division in the same step. Now this is times the square root. Don't really need that parentheses. Let's go ahead and just put the square root down of P1 hat would be 144 over 481 times the Q sub 1 hat would be 337. Let's make that a little neater for you. 330 or 3. That would be a 337, by the way. Just a little error there. So make sure that was a 337 on your paper over 481 all over 1,443. Now I did run out of room, so let's go ahead and make a little continuation. So plus, and this is still under the square root, 77 over 260 for the P sub 2 hat times 183 over 260 for the Q sub 2 hat all over 780. That was N sub 2. Little technical difficulties here. Now, that 78 on bottom was supposed to be a 780, so make sure you do fix that in your notes. But that's less than P sub 1 minus P sub 2, less than the exact same thing with a plus. So let's go ahead and type this in the calculator. And when you do, make sure you put 780 instead of 78 on bottom. Now, to save us some writing, and to save me from making more errors while writing, we're just going to write this Z sub 0.05 over 2 as 1.96. You can look up in your Z table and you will find that Z sub 0.025 is equal to 1.96. Now when we put that in the calculator, with the corrected numbers of course, we get negative 0.037 is less than P sub 1 minus P sub 2, which is less than 0.043. And that gives us our confidence interval. Now it's going to ask us, what is our conclusion based on this confidence interval? Is there any significant difference between P sub 1 and P sub 2? If we look at this confidence interval, we see that 0 is included. 0 is somewhere between negative 0.037 and 0.043. Since it does include 0, that means that there does not appear to be significant difference between the two proportions. And on the My Stats Lab, you will have little drop-down bars to choose from, and it might not be the exact wording, but it follows the same concept. If you have any questions about how we found our values in the Z table, how we know where to plug in, about any of the mistakes I made, if I need to go over and elaborate on how to fix those, please contact me through course messaging, or if you want to, please feel free to leave a message in the course discussion board, and maybe one of your classmates can help you.